Yo, what just happened in Argentina might have changed hip-hop forever. Like, we not being dramatic, this ain't just another sold-out show or a viral performance. This was a shift, a cultural earthquake. And at the center of it all, Kendrick Lamar. The same Kendrick that went ghost for months, popped out with subtle jabs and cryptic captions, then dropped back into silence. Yeah, he just broke the silence with a show so powerful, so emotional, so disrespectfully legendary, that fans are now calling Buenos Aires the new capital of hip-hop. But here's the real kicker. This wasn't even supposed to be the biggest stop of the tour. This was just another international date. But something happened on that stage. Something that made Kendrick stop, mid-set, break script, and say words that would have the whole world talking. Insiders are saying he exposed a major industry betrayal, threw shade at American media, and even hinted at leaving the US for good. Yeah, it's that deep. And what's crazier? Multiple rap legends were in the crowd. One even walked out mid-performance. Fans are shook, labels are panicking, and social media is torn in half. So what exactly went down in Argentina? What did Kendrick say that sparked global shockwaves? And is hip-hop really ready to move its throne? Stay locked in, this one's personal, political, and packed with drama you won't believe. So picture this. A Friday night in Buenos Aires. The air thick with energy. People lined up 4 blocks outside a stadio monumental, Argentina's largest stadium. Everybody buzzing, waiting to see Kendrick Lamar live. But little did they know, they weren't just about to witness a concert. They were about to watch history get made and the entire rap game flipped upside down in the process. This wasn't no regular tour stop. From the minute soundcheck started, something felt off. Louder bass, extra security, and whispers backstage about Kendrick changing the set list last minute. Fans started catching on too. When doors opened, they noticed there were no brand partnerships, no flashy stage sponsors. Just one massive banner hanging over the stage that read, "No borders, no filters, only truth." Off rip, it felt different. Then, just after 9:37 p.m., the lights dropped. Pitch black. Crowd screaming. You hear the faint echo of a heartbeat. Slow, steady. Then, silence. Kendrick walks out. No dancers. No fireworks. Just a single spotlight and his voice. First track he performs. Untitled '07. A deep cut, introspective, haunting. The whole stadium goes silent. Fans ain't even screaming, they listening. Like they know this ain't a regular night. And right after the first verse, Kendrick stops. Looks out at 80,000 people. Then says one line that changed everything. Maybe hip-hop don't live in America no more. Dead silence. That one sentence triggered a ripple effect. Fans froze. Even the DJ hesitated. It wasn't in the script. It wasn't rehearsed. That was Kendrick talking his soul. And then he kept going. What if the truth only survives where the money don't silence it? What if we've been lied to about what the center of this culture really is? Now the crowd starts murmuring. People looking around like, wait, what's he saying? And Kendrick ain't stopped there. He transitions straight into DNA with a brand new intro verse. One that no one had ever heard before. In it, he rapped about how the industry filters out authenticity, how the charts are manipulated, and how artists are forced to choose between truth and popularity. And one line in that verse had fans screaming, reporters scrambling, and certain rappers allegedly leaving the venue early. Had to leave my city just to find my voice / every label call sound like a fake choice when your own brothers ghost you for the invoice. That's when you realize the crown ain't real. It's just noise. People in the crowd caught that bar immediately. Speculations started flying. Who ghosted him? Who took the money and dipped? Was he talking about someone from TDE? Maybe even a certain Canadian rapper who'd been dodging smoke for years. And that's when social media exploded. Videos started circulating from inside the venue, clips showing international fans crying, holding up signs that read, "Truth lives here now." And even one Argentinian fan who shouted mid-song, "You belong to us now, Kendrick." But it gets crazier. Right after DNA, Kendrick paused the show again. This time he addressed the crowd directly. "They told me I couldn't talk like this. They said if I did it outside America, they'd cut me off. But the truth don't have a passport." The crowd roared. And in that moment, Kendrick did something that had never been done in a hip-hop show of this size. He removed his in-ear monitors, turned to the band and said, "No more backing track. No click, just soul." From that point forward, everything was live, raw, organic. And that's when the shift happened, midway through the show. Kendrick brings out a guest no one expected, Residente from Kale. 13. The Puerto Rican lyricist known for his anti-establishment bars and rebellion against the music industry. The crowd went insane. They performed a freestyle cypher together. Bilingual, unrehearsed, and during that session, Kendrick dropped another bombshell. "Industry puppets can't dance where there's revolution. Truth don't chart. But it's spark evolution. They label me conscious. Like, that's an illusion, but if y'all woke now, that's my contribution." And at that moment backstage was pure chaos. Someone from the tour staff allegedly received a call from a major American network demanding to cut the stream. They claimed the performance was getting too political, too controversial, but Kendrick had already made sure there was no live stream. He told his team before the show, "If this night's gonna live forever, let the people carry it, not the platforms." And that they did. Clips were going viral within minutes. Hashtag Kendrick Argentinian hit over 2 million posts in under 2 hours. Even celebrities started chiming in. SCA posted, "This man is not from Earth." European rapper Stormzy tweeted, "Kendrick just took the game away from America. And I'm not even mad." But while fans were celebrating, others, not so much. A source close to a very popular New York rapper said he was deeply uncomfortable with Kendrick's comments and felt like he was disrespecting the roots of hip-hop. Another insider claimed that 2 major artists who were originally planning to fly out for Kendrick's Latin America run suddenly canceled their flights after seeing what went down in Buenos Aires. But the drama wasn't just outside. Even within Kendrick's own circle, tensions were rising. Allegedly, Baby Keem was set to come out as a surprise guest during the second half of the show. But minutes before his scheduled slot, he refused. People backstage said he looked upset, pacing. One crew member overheard him saying, "I ain't sign up for all this global martyr *T." Sources say Kendrick tried to talk to him, but Keem pulled away and left the venue in a black SUV. Just dipped. That's family. And he walked out. That's how deep this moment got. And guess who else was in the building? None other than Rick Rubin, the legendary producer. He was seen standing side stage, arms crossed, nodding slowly. One eyewitness claimed Rubin turned to a staffer and said, "This ain't a concert. This is a transfer of power." And it felt like that. The atmosphere, the energy, the way fans were reacting. This wasn't just about Kendrick performing, it was about him declaring something bigger than music. But the biggest twist of the night, it came right after the song "Mortal Man." Kendrick stood there, sweating, breathing heavy. He looked out into the sea of screaming fans and said, "America made me, but y'all saved me." Then he dropped to his knees and the lights cut out, total silence. The only sound in the stadium is the collective breathing of a crowd that just witnessed something they didn't fully understand yet. Phones were out, flashlights flickering like stars. Everyone's waiting for the next song, the next beat drop, something. But nothing comes. Just darkness for 40 full seconds. And then a single spotlight flicks back on. But it's not on Kendrick anymore. It's on a young boy standing in the middle of the crowd. Maybe 12 years old? He's wearing a white t-shirt with one word handwritten across the chest. Truth. Fans are confused. Security looks around. Nobody knows how he got there. Then Kendrick's voice echoes across the stadium. but he's nowhere in sight. It's just his voice booming through the speakers like thunder. Truth don't come from a microphone. It comes from the ones they ignore. And then the beat drops. But it ain't a Kendrick beat. It's tango. A classic Argentinian sound mixed with a hip-hop bass line. It sounds like resistance, like rebellion, like roots and future clashing in real time. And from the top of the stage, Kendrick reappears, now dressed in all white, barefoot, no mic in hand, just rapping straight into the stadium air. Raw voice. No auto-tune. No backing vocals. Just pure emotion. This next part of the show ain't even on the set list. Insiders say not even his band knew it was coming. Kendrick just went off script. Completely. He starts telling stories that sound like confessions. He raps about label execs who told him not to speak out internationally. About big checks he turned down because they came with silence clauses. About watching his peers lose themselves chasing global fame while he stayed quiet building something deeper. One of the most chilling lines of the night. They told me power's in the chart. But what's a chart when the people know your heart? Fans are crying, seriously. Some are holding each other. Others are filming with their hands shaking and backstage. Total confusion. There's talk that Kendrick's team got a call from his American label asking, what the hell was going on? They weren't mad, they were panicked. Because what Kendrick was doing, it wasn't just a performance. It was a movement. He announces live on stage that he's partnering with Argentinian community leaders to launch an independent arts program for Latin American kids, one that doesn't involve any major American music companies. Fans cheer louder than ever. This wasn't just bars. This was action. But you know the industry doesn't like when you move without them. While the crowd is still roaring. Someone from Kendrick's management allegedly gets pulled aside. 2 reps from a well-known global streaming company, no names dropped. But word is it's the biggest one, are outside the venue demanding a meeting. They're not on the guest list. They weren't invited. But they showed up anyway. Why? Because while Kendrick is up there changing the game, they're losing control of the narrative. One rep allegedly says to a venue official, "We can't let this go viral without us." But it's too late. It's already viral. Clips of the barefoot freestyle, the kid in the crowd, the emotional speech, they're all trending. In 10 languages, 3 continents. Major news outlets that don't even cover hip-hop are picking it up. And just when you thought it couldn't get deeper, Kendrick brings out another guest, not an artist, a mother. Her name is Luciana. She's from Buenos Aires. She lost her son last year in police custody. She walks out holding a picture of him. The crowd goes silent again, and Kendrick hands her the mic. She says only this: "They killed my son, and no one in power said his name. But tonight, you all know who he is. Thank you, Kendrick." And the crowd loses it. This wasn't about fame anymore. This wasn't about dissing rappers or streaming charts or even the music industry. This was about real life, real people, real stories that never make it past the borders of American attention spans. Kendrick then raps a new verse, one that people are now calling the verse that broke the globe. One bar in particular hit hard. Maybe the throne never belonged to them. Maybe we've just been renting dreams in a foreign system. Yo, that bar alone sparked global debates online. People arguing whether Kendrick was turning his back on American hip-hop or just expanding its definition. Others accused him of exploiting international pain for clout. But his fans, they say he's doing what no one else has the courage to now. Let's talk about the aftermath. Remember that young New York rapper who was uncomfortable with the Buenos Aires speech? Sources say he went live just hours later with a passive-aggressive message. Hip-hop came from our struggle, not theirs. Don't forget that. And Kendrick's quiet response: not a tweet, not a lyric, just an Instagram story showing a mural being painted in Argentina, a giant painting of Kendrick holding a globe in one hand, and a mic in the other surrounded by children. Caption: truth don't compete. It grows. And fans are eating it up. Meanwhile, Someone close to J. Cole reportedly said he's been in private talks with Kendrick since the show. They've been texting, possibly collaborating on a borderless project. Nothing confirmed, but if that's true, the internet might actually melt down. And then there's the biggest twist of all. Kendrick was scheduled to return to Los Angeles for the next leg of the tour, but he cancels. Out of nowhere, sends a message through his team that says, "We're extending our stay in Latin America. There's more to build here." And that's when the rumors start swirling. Kendrick Lamar might be moving. For real, fans start digging. Someone claims he's looking at property in Chile. Others say he's buying studio space in Brazil. One blog says he's planning to launch a global label based outside of the U.S. Now everybody's panicking. Labels, promoters, press outlets, they're all trying to figure out what this means. Because if Kendrick, one of the most respected, most gifted, most revered lyricists of this generation, decides to take his influence and plant it elsewhere, it ain't just about Argentina anymore. It's about the future of the genre. As soon as Kendrick's team confirmed he wasn't coming back to Los Angeles anytime soon, the entire industry went into survival mode. Managers, execs, playlist curators, media outlets, everyone started asking the same question behind closed doors. Did we just lose control of hip-hop? Because this wasn't just some artist moving overseas. This was Kendrick Lamar, the Pulitzer-winning, chart-dominating, culture-shifting architect of conscious rap, straight up removing himself from the machine. And not quietly. He did it with noise, with purpose. And with a level of influence nobody in the current generation could match. Insiders say 2 major labels immediately called emergency meetings. Why? Because Kendrick allegedly turned down not 1, but 3 distribution offers, all multi-million-dollar deals to launch a fully independent international label. And get this, none of the offers included creative control over his music. They just wanted affiliation. Just his name on paper. He said no to all 3. And instead, he posted another cryptic message to his PG Lang site. Just a black screen with white text that read, "From Compton to Cordoba. From Watts to World, no explanation. No links. No announcement. Fans knew what it meant. Kendrick wasn't leaving hip-hop behind. He was taking it global, and the world was watching. But not everybody was celebrating. There were rumblings from certain circles in the American rap elite. One Southern rapper, who many consider a gatekeeper of traditional hip-hop, allegedly told a journalist off-record, he trying to rewrite the rules without asking the culture first. You don't take the crown and give it to another country. But that's exactly what Kendrick was doing, not out of disrespect, but out of love. He wasn't giving it away, he was sharing it, expanding the vision, building something new. Meanwhile, fans in Argentina, Chile, and Brazil started organizing community events, ciphers, mural paintings, educational meets, all inspired by Kendrick's message. You had teenagers quoting his lyrics like scripture, grown men crying during freestyle sessions in back alleys, grandmothers showing up to poetry readings with Kendrick's photo on handmade t-shirts. And guess what? Kendrick showed up to some of these events, unannounced, no security, no media. One night, he walked into a community center in Buenos Aires where a group of young rappers were rehearsing. They didn't even know he was in the country. One of them reportedly dropped his phone mid-recording and said, "You're not real." Kendrick laughed and said, "I ain't gotta be real to listen." He sat for hours, gave feedback, listened to their stories, even laid down a hook on one of their tracks. No payment, no paperwork, just vibes. And that song is now the #1 trending track in all of Argentina. But back in the States, it's a different energy. There's a visible divide forming in hip-hop. You got artists who are calling Kendrick the realest to ever do it, and others whispering about betrayal, about abandonment, about him turning his back on the very place that built him. And one of the loudest voices in that critique, surprisingly, was someone who used to call Kendrick his brother, Schoolboy Q, in a leaked clip from a late-night studio session. Q can be heard venting to someone off camera, saying, "I love that man, but what's he doing?" We still fighting here? We still got war at home. And he out there acting like the world's fixed? Fans were torn. Like the world's fixed? Fans were torn. Some agreed with Q, feeling like Kendrick should be using his influence to uplift American communities before planting new roots overseas. Others said Q just didn't understand the bigger picture. That Kendrick wasn't leaving, was expanding. But then came a response no one expected. Jelectronica. He posted a long message to his story. A rare move, writing, "Y'all mad at a man for walking the earth like a prophet when most of y'all won't walk outside your ego. Hip-hop ain't geography, it's truth. Wherever truth is, that's where the crown go." And that post went viral. Overnight, you had major artists and influencers choosing sides. Timelines turned into battlegrounds. People arguing over what hip-hop is, who owns it, and whether or not one man could really change the center of power by simply moving. And just when the chaos started to settle, Kendrick lit the fire again. He dropped a short film on his PG Lang site. No warning. Just called Freedom Don't Chart. This was shot in black and white. Mostly handheld camera footage of his time in Latin America, children rapping in the streets, families dancing to boom bap, murals of Tupac and Nina Simone painted on brick walls. End at the end. A voiceover from Kendrick saying, "They told me my people were only in one place. They lied, my people are everywhere. And they've been waiting, yo." That hit deep. The film got shared by every major outlet. It was played during art shows, college lectures, even political rallies, and all without ever touching a single American platform. But what scared the industry the most? Kendrick still hadn't dropped any new music. No album. No single. No collab. Was moving culture without music. And that's when the calls started happening. One major streaming platform. You already know which one allegedly contacted multiple American artists asking them to balance the narrative by releasing tracks that reaffirm the roots of hip-hop in the States. Let that sink in. They tried to fight Kendrick's energy with algorithm, and it backfired because fans felt the difference. They knew who was chasing numbers and who was speaking truth. You can't fake soul. And Kendrick's movement was dripping in it, but not everything was perfect overseas either. Rumors started spreading that certain political groups in Latin America were trying to co-opt Kendrick's message for their own agendas. Posters of him began appearing in places he hadn't even visited, attached to slogans he never said. And that's when Kendrick decided to speak directly to the issue. At a small, private roundtable with international journalists, he said, "I ain't a politician. I'm not a leader. I'm just a man with a mic. Don't follow me, follow the message." And with that one sentence, he reminded everyone, this ain't about ego. This ain't about fame. It's about real connection, real expression, something the charts will never measure. The pressure was building. While Kendrick was still out in South America, tending community gatherings, building with local artists, and pushing his message, things behind the scenes were getting heavier by the day. International media outlets started twisting his words. Headlines were popping up like, "Kendrick Lamar denounces America." Lamar fuels anti-US sentiment, and has Kendrick turned his back on Black American struggle? But Kendrick never said any of that. It was clear the system was starting to panic. One source close to his camp revealed that Kendrick received a direct message from a government-connected figure warning him to choose his words carefully because his influence extends far beyond entertainment now. That's not just music talk anymore. That's power talk. But Kendrick, he didn't flinch. Instead, he planned something even bigger. He announced an unscheduled free outdoor performance in Rosario, Argentina. No tickets, no promotion, no stage. Just a field, speakers, and whoever shows up. And when the day came, over 150,000 people showed up. No joke. Families, street artists, activists, students, hip-hop heads from across South America. Some even flew in from Europe and South Africa. It wasn't just a crowd, it looked like a movement. And what did Kendrick do? He came out wearing the same truth shirt the little boy had on in Buenos Aires, barefoot. Again, no security in sight. But this time, he didn't just rap. He taught. For the first 45 minutes, he didn't perform a single song. He spoke to the crowd. Not like a rapper, like a human. Like someone who'd seen both sides of the game and came back to expose the rules. He talked about exploitation, the danger of cultural ownership, the history of music being commodified, and the need for artists to reclaim their voice. Not just in America, everywhere. And then he said something that had even his own fans in shock. "I'm not dropping another album through the industry. Ever again." The entire field went silent. People couldn't believe it. Was Kendrick really done with the system? Was he saying goodbye? But then he clarified that don't mean I'm done rapping. It means I'm done letting a boardroom filter what my truths sound like. From now on, I'll give it to the people directly. And that's when he announced the launch of Global Frequency, a borderless music platform co-founded by Kendrick, Residente, a South African producer named Lutho, and a Brazilian spoken word artist known as Maria de Luz. The mission: to share music, art, and stories without labels, charts, or streaming restrictions. And it gets even deeper. He revealed that the entire platform would be non-profit. No ads, no subscriptions. Fully crowdfunded. A place for pure expression. Yo. This ain't just hip-hop anymore. This was revolution. Meanwhile, the American industry started hitting the panic button. Playlists were quietly adjusted. Editorial pieces were commissioned to discredit Kendrick's utopian idealism. One blog even accused him of cultural abandonment. But fans weren't buying it because what they saw in those crowds. In the clips coming from Rosario, in the verses he was spitting with kids in the favela, was real. It was unfiltered. It wasn't just rap, was release. But here's where the emotional twist hits hardest. While all this was happening, back in law, Kendrick's mother reportedly reached out to him. In a leaked audio clip that surfaced days later, she says, "Baby, I see what you're doing. I'm proud. But don't forget, we still fighting at home, too. Don't let your love for the world pull you too far from where you started." And that message hit him deep. Because even while the world was praising him, even while he was building something that had never existed before, the people closest to him were reminding him, "You still got a family and the struggle back home." And that night, he went quiet. No posts. No appearances. No performances. For 48 hours. And then he returned to Instagram with one image, a photo of Compton, but it was altered in the background. You could see murals of Tupac, murals of Nina Simone, but painted by Argentinian artists. In the sky, faded in, were Spanish lyrics floating like clouds. It was Compton, but reimagined globally. Caption: "Home is every place the truth breathes." And then he dropped the track. Unlisted, no promo, only on Global Frequency. The song was called Borders, and man, it was a masterpiece. One long 5-minute verse, no hook, just pure fire. He addressed everything: the betrayal, the accusations, the weight of being the chosen one, the discomfort of leaving, the guilt, the pressure, the love. And then the final lines of the track: "If I leave and they say I ran, let 'em talk. They don't understand truth, don't need a passport. Man, it lives wherever you make a stand." Fans were in tears. Literal tears. The song went viral within hours, even though it wasn't on Spotify, Apple Music, or any mainstream platform. People started calling it the anthem for the unfiltered. Some said it was the realest verse Kendrick ever dropped. But the biggest moment came 3 days later. The United Nations, cultural arm UNESCO, invited Kendrick to speak at a global youth summit. And guess what? He showed up. Not in a suit, not on a panel. He walked on stage in a black hoodie and performed Borders live, a cappella, in front of diplomats, artists, and students from 60-plus countries. And the final line? He didn't rap it, he whispered it. Truth, don't chart. It connects. The room stood still, and from that moment on, headlines around the world began echoing one shocking idea. Did hip-hop just move its capital? From the stages of Buenos Aires to the hearts of fans across continents. One thing became clear. Kendrick wasn't running from America. He was expanding its reflection, showing that hip-hop was never just one thing, never just one place. It was and always had been universal. And now, the question wasn't whether Kendrick left hip-hop. It was whether hip-hop was finally ready to follow him into the future. So, there you have it. Kendrick Lamar's Argentina show didn't just shock the world. It shook the very foundation of hip-hop itself. From canceling his LA return to sparking a global movement, he challenged what it means to own culture. Where the heart of hip-hop really beats, and who gets to carry its legacy. Fans are still debating, is this the start of a new era, or the end of the old guard? Will the industry adapt or fight back harder? And what does this mean for the artists caught in the middle? Now we want to hear from you. What do you think about Kendrick's bold move? Is Argentina the new hip-hop capital, or is this just a temporary phase? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The drama isn't over, and your opinion matters. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most explosive stories shaking the culture, smash that like button and make sure you subscribe for more exclusive updates, insider takes, and real mixed drama you won't hear anywhere else. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you'll never miss a moment of the action. We're just getting started, and trust me, the next chapter is going to be even wilder. Until then, keep your eyes open, your ears sharp, and remember, in hip-hop, the truth always finds a way to rise.